We're here with Brian Disselberger. Of course, he's Jewish. He's the founder of VX, the $2.5 billion publicly traded company, and now he's on to his next company, Windmill, which just raised a $12 million seed round. He hasn't wrapped a fill-in over 15 years. Brian, can you tell us why we're wrapping the fill-in today?
Obvious reasons. The next one.
Baruch. We're here with Eric Reiner, the founder of Vine Ventures, the $500 million VC. He started keeping Shabbat after college. Eric, why did you start keeping Shabbat?
I first of all loved the concept of it. I am a very energetic person. I'm always doing a million different
Founder, he's being attacked by millions online for being a loud and proud Jew. Gabe, I have a question for you. Why not just give in?
You know, I was born with this my whole life. Our family's been fighting for 3,000 years. You look back in history and see all of the anti-Semitism. It's a constant thread throughout our history, and the only way to combat it is to stand up and to stay proud. So that's what I'm doing.
You wear your yarmulke every day, loud and proud, right? New York City with Samuel Weiner. He's the youngest title executive here in New York City. He's closed over $1 billion in title transactions. Samuel, for someone just getting started right now in real estate, what would be your advice for them?
I think the most important thing is building the right relationships. It's who you know, not what you know. I mean, what you know is important, but your network is really how you're going to build the right relationships to become.
Shalom. First and foremost, before I get started, I'm going to give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Merkah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from, and peace and salutations to the elect between the sheep of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai. Yahweh is a true name of the Heavenly Father, which the world ignorantly calls God. Ba'ashem means in the name of, and Yahushai is a true name of the Son, which the world ignorantly calls JC, or Jesus Christ. His true name is Yahushai in the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. And once again, Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. And I'm going to be speaking about these people really run the entire earth, right? And what I mean by that is, we know the Lord is in control of everything, but these people, they have a certain position of power, right? These Amalekites, these JOOs, these Edomites, and they have they're the ones in rulership right now. That's part of those curses that we would have. We would have to be under these people for a short period of time, but soon you're already seeing that the roles are shifting, right? And I'm going to bring this out. Ecclesiasticus 10 verses 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. You're about to see these JOOs lose all of their power, man. And right now, it might seem like they're on top because they have all these different apps, right? They're the ones really, behind all these different apps, these different companies, right? They have billions and billions and billions of dollars, and they also control, they're controlling, the banks, right? Whatever, these people are going to be taken out of power real soon, right? Because we know what these people are wicked, and the earth is given in the hands of the wicked, right? This is the book of Job 9:24. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Right? And that's right now, the earth is given in the hands of these fucking people. And Amalek is the head tribe of Edom. You're seeing these people, they own all these different apps, sports teams, and at very young ages too, 20 years old, making already hundreds of millions of dollars. Just and these people, they basically have that, they have that silver spoon, right? Right when they're born, they're already born into a wealthy family of, they got billions of dollars. Their family allows them to get access to all these different investments. You know what I'm saying? And while the rest of these people, they look at us like cattle, because they think of us as goyim, and these people are disgusting, right? But you see the videos I play in the beginning. These people, they think they have all these different apps, $100 million, $1 billion before the age of 30. And on top of that, a lot of these Amalekites, they also control the porn industry. A ton of them are making money through those ways, right? And I think the founder of OnlyFans as well. All these different porn apps, OnlyFans apps, whatever, they're run by these fucking Amalekites, these JOOs, right? But these people, man, they run the entire earth, bro. And let's bring this out. Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, and surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right, so the least of the flock, that's speaking about Amalek, right? These JOOs. And they're called that because they're from a smaller country, right? Relative to the other nations that are in power. Yet they control, they're controlling all the banks, right? They're controlling all the just basically, we know the Lord is in control, but the Lord, basically the Lord set them up to be in control of literally everything in this for this time period. And let's go back. Yep, and it says, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Right, so their land is going to be destroyed. Everything that they have, bro, they're going to be destroyed, and they're going to be put into captivity. Okay, just because these people have a bit of money and all the money these people make, bro. Let's be real. It's made from unjust gains. A lot of them do this. What is it? What do you call those? A lot of them will change prices. You'll charge people a certain tenant, right? Certain rent, and a lot of them are also known to be terrible landlords, right? Terrible but when it comes to their kind, right? All of a sudden they will they'll share money with amongst themselves. They'll give money amongst each other. But when it comes to everybody else, they're gonna you best believe they're gonna fucking try to squeeze every ounce, every penny of what you own, right? And what I was saying earlier is a lot of them, these JOOs, they own a lot of different apartment complexes as well, and will just completely charge the shit out of people. Manipulate the rent prices, right? Just evil people, bro, right? This is a book of Proverbs 13:11. Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. And you gotta remember, basically, these different slave owners, right? They're all the Amalekites, right? If you actually look up the names of these different slave owners, you'll see that they have these Amalekite last names, right? These JOO last names, and that's why a lot of our people, right? They basically, their last names were changed to where they took on these different last names of these JOOs, right? And so but just going back, right? wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase. And they took our land, took our names, right? Changed them to something else. Took our, they raped the Israelite women, right? Tortured us, right? Fed our babies to gators. Did all sorts of crazy shit, bro. Sodomy, right? I'm not gonna even go too deep into that stuff, right? Because these people are just fucking evil, and right, just evil ass people, right? And soon we're gonna see the downfall of these people. Yeah, they're running the world right now, but really, we're gonna see the downfall of our enemy, right? Let's bring this out. Sirach chapter 25 verse 6, or Salakia. Sirach chapter 25 verse 7, also known as Ecclesiasticus. There be 9 things which I have judged in my heart to be happy, and the 10th I will utter with my tongue. A man that hath joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And so we're going to see the downfall of these people. Even that though they think, even though it looks like, they're making billions of dollars, and they have all these different, whatever, all these different estates, houses, right, penthouses, whatever the case might be, right? We're gonna see the downfall of these people, and they're gonna be put into slavery, bro, right? It's you're gonna see it, man. Let's bring this out. Children of base men. Let's bring this. Job chapter 30 verse 8. They were children of fools, children of base men. They were viler than the earth. And these people, before they went to the land of Ai, right? They were living in mountains, bro. And that's where you get that term Caucasian from, because they came from the Caucasus Mountains, right? And their customs are insane. I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but if you look up, they do a lot of weird things. Let's just say, amongst their church and amongst children, right? And they also have these different tunnel systems underground. And this is real. This is real stuff. And if you happen to somehow speak to one of these people, they will even tell you, that these things actually happen amongst their church, where there's no. It's kind of hard to describe, but like look up their the so-called JOOs. What is it? Baptism ritual, right? These people are so fucking disgusting and so evil, bro. They're literally, the most vile people, bro. Right? Living in sewers, coming out of sewers, and they truly think that they're the chosen people of the Lord, right? Which the real Israelites are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and you Israelite foreigners. But not these fucking people. These people, they basically are just, they're just butthurt. Because really, that blessing was never even for them. Right? These devils, they go all the way back to the seed line of Esau. And Esau, if you know anything about Esau, his birthright was basically what? He lost his birthright, right? until this day, he has hatred towards us, and that's why, he sets up all these different snares and traps, right? And eventually he wants everybody to take that RFID microchip, right? Because right now you see that these people, they're running all these different, different apps, different, companies. Their ultimate goal is literally to make us into, cattle and basically, slaves. And how do they want to do that? By trying to get us to take that RFID microchip, that mark of the beast, right? And a lot of people are going to take that. Right. This out. This book of 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So just know that these are the people behind these things, and that microchip that's gonna basically that snare that's gonna come upon the entire earth. Guess who wants you to take that chip? It's these people, right? So we're gonna have to endure until the end, right? For a short period of time, for the short period of time that these people have their power, right? And eventually it's going to be taken away from them. And what does the scripture say? Thou knowest short time. Revelation 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And these people, they know that judgment is coming for them. They want to basically be in denial or whatever, right? They know they have a short time period left, and that's why people are even, the Lord's putting on the spirit of people to find out who they are, and people hate them. People, spit on them. People don't even, serve them in different, public domains, restaurants, whatever, right? So this devil, he knows he has a short period of time left, and we're gonna see him fall out of power real soon, right? But Lord willing, I just wanted to make this quick video, right? With that, I'm gonna give all glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and Shalom.